Welcome, scholars, to today's Masterclass Explainer. I am stepping in today not just as your host, but looking through the lens of an elite Cambridge assessment curriculum architect. Today, we are absolutely cracking the code on one of Paper 2's most notoriously challenging areas, social and economic development within the Afrikaans language AS level exam. Look, if you've ever stared down a complex high-tariff exam question, maybe a 9 to 15 mark beast, and felt your mind just go completely blank, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to completely reconstruct how you think about these exams.
Let's start with the stakes, all right? 15%. The social and economic development topic accounts for approximately 15% of your total marks in Paper 2. Now, I want you to really think about that. That is a massive chunk of your final grade. It is quite literally the buffer between an average score and a truly exceptional top-tier band. You cannot afford to leave these marks on the table.
But this brings us to a really critical question, one that examiners see in the reports year after year after year. Why do students find applying concepts to unfamiliar contexts so incredibly hard? We are going to answer this today by exploring exactly what Cambridge examiners are hunting for when they throw a completely unfamiliar scenario your way. We are putting on the examiner's lens to see the hidden constraints of the prompt.
Here is our examiner's playbook for today. 1. Core exam principles. 2. The procedural framework. 3. The top 3 examiner traps. 4. Securing method marks. And 5. Mastering critical analysis. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Core Exam Principles.
Okay, listen closely, because this is where the game is won or lost. The assessment framework strictly prioritizes analytical depth and logical, structured reasoning over simply listing everything you know in a superficial way. To understand this, let's imagine 2 types of scholars in our masterclass. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical, right? Excels at memorizing facts, formulas, and vocabulary. When Alex sees a command word like explain, they just data dump every fact they know about social development. But Sam is a creative thinker. Sam looks at a command word like to what extent and tries to build a broad sweeping argument but completely lacks structural precision. Both of them are going to miss the top marks here. Why? Because examiners don't just want superficial breadth from Alex, and they don't want unstructured ideas from Sam. They want to see that you can take a few key concepts and drill down deeply into their implications. Superficial breadth will permanently cap your score. Analytical depth is your only key to the top bands.
Ultimately, top-performing candidates are the ones who can prove systematic, evidence-based reasoning. When you encounter a totally unfamiliar case study on the exam paper, let's say it's about rural unemployment in South Africa, your brain shouldn't panic. It should automatically trigger your theoretical foundations regarding positive and negative socioeconomic aspects, transferring them seamlessly to that new stimulus material. It's all about connected conceptual understanding. You have to bridge the gap between what you studied and the fresh scenarios sitting right in front of you.
Section 2. The Procedural Framework. I need you to practically memorize this 5-step sequence. It is your absolute ultimate strategy for logically processing stimulus materials. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. This is where you isolate the command word. Are you being asked to analyze or evaluate? Because those require very different cognitive paths. Step 2. Extract the relevant data. Step 3. Select your analytical framework. Now, if Alex and Sam were debating this in a study suite, Alex might push for a purely factual approach here, while Sam might argue for a broader, conceptual perspective. But the framework unites them. Step 4. Execute with clear notation. And Step 5. Verify the results and present them. Building a bulletproof answer requires treating this like a rigorous professional process. You don't just start writing, you strategize first.
And remember, practical application also means developing professional skills, which require strictly following presentation conventions. Examiners are specifically scanning your paper for proper headings, the correct use of academic terminology, appropriate formats, and crystal clear annotation. Let me be blunt. If your thoughts are absolutely brilliant, but your presentation is a disorganized mess, you are leaving precious marks on the table. You have to communicate exactly like a subject specialist.
Section 3. Top 3 Examiner Traps.
Now we're looking directly at the principal examiner reports. These are the top 3 mistakes examiners repeatedly flag when grading the positive and negative aspects of social and economic development. First, students constantly confuse cause and effect. Second, they forget to check their format and presentation, which we just covered. And third, their answers are not specific to the context given. Now, right before we solve the absolute hardest part of this trap, I'm going to hit pause for a quick second. If you are serious about cracking these top-tier marking bands, you need consistent strategy. I highly recommend you subscribe to the channel Ace the Exams IGCSE ON and A levels at the handle @acetheexam_IGCS. Make sure you enable all notifications so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. We are dropping exam hacks constantly, and you want to be first in line. Okay, let's get back to the trap.
Let's look at how to avoid that first major trap. You must explicitly separate the root cause of a socioeconomic issue from its subsequent ripple effects in your writing. Identifying a cause is one baseline skill. Analyzing its effect is an entirely different cognitive leap. Imagine you're drafting a model response. You might hit a roadblock where your paragraphs just bleed together. Let's fix that right now. If a new housing policy is the cause, local economic growth or shifts in community infrastructure are the effects. Don't mash them up. Actually, scratch that. Don't even let them share the same unstructured sentence. You need to transition from a mediocre answer to a flawless one by using clear, structural language to show the examiner exactly which one you were talking about. Cause in one logical step, effect in the next.
Section 4. Securing method marks. Please look at this quote directly from the examiners. This is a massive, massive examiner alert. Students lose marks by not showing working. Even if your final answer is wrong, method marks can save you. This is your rescue strategy. Showing your exact analytical process is how you secure crucial method marks. The examiners literally want to see the gears turning in your head. They want to see your methodology, not just the final destination. If you hit a complete mental roadblock during the exam, showing your work is the parachute that stops your grade from free-falling.
So how do we do that? By visually breaking your problem solving down into these precise steps, you guarantee the examiner sees your working. 1. Identify the given information. 2. Break it into logical steps. 3. Solve systematically. 4. Check for reasonableness. And 5. Make justified recommendations. Think of this as the deconstruct, solve, and evaluate method. If you follow this structure on your paper, even if you make a massive logic error in step 3, you will still pick up the marks for steps 1 and 2. It is the ultimate safety net for high-pressure situations.
Section 5. Mastering Critical Analysis.
Welcome to the interactive part of our masterclass. I want you to imagine a complex graph or text excerpt is up on the board right now, and you have 60 seconds to analyze it. Building a top-tier comparative analysis requires a dual focus. You have to identify both similarities and differences. Don't just pick one. You must use proper comparative connectives to seamlessly link your ideas. You must support every single point with hard evidence from the stimulus material. And finally, you have to draw strong conclusions about relative importance. Which factor matters more, and why? That evaluative judgment is exactly what pushes you out of the middle pack and into the highest possible grade bracket.
Furthermore, interpreting relationships and extracting data just isn't enough. You must rigorously evaluate the quality of the evidence. I want you to look for the flaws. Whenever you look at an economic graph or a social development text, ask yourself, what are the limitations of this data? What hidden assumptions are being made here? Are there alternative interpretations we aren't seeing? And how do these flaws affect the final conclusions? You need to interrogate the data like a detective. Don't just blindly accept it as fact. Now, if you find all these frameworks, rules, and steps totally overwhelming, I want to give you a memory hack. Use a visual story method to encode these positive and negative socioeconomic aspects. Our human brains are hardwired for narrative, so connect the causes, the effects, and the evaluations into a simple mental story before you walk into the exam room. Visualizing how a specific education policy directly impacts local poverty levels will make retrieving these complex analytical frameworks so much faster when that exam clock is ticking down. Just remember our 3 core pillars from today: the 3-step question scan, the paragraph balance formula for cause and effect, and the last 5 minutes review checklist for your presentation.
You now have the exact cognitive frameworks and blueprints the examiners use to assess your logic. Practice these on past papers, internalize that method mark rescue strategy, and step into that exam room knowing exactly what to do. Crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent strategy, so before you go, absolutely make sure you hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams IGCSE and A-levels at Ace the Exams IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell right now for future exam hacks, and I want you to drop a comment below with your target grade to hold yourself accountable. Will you just read the facts, or will you critically evaluate the unseen ripple effects? The choice is yours. Thank you for joining this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.